Welcome to the lying down yoga practice. Taking time during this short introduction to get yourself settled on your yoga or exercise mat or a carpeted floor. Each yoga movement provides an opportunity to connect deeply with yourself. Paying close attention to the body can be nourishing and assist in supporting your own health and well-being. It is important to choose a time and place where you feel comfortable and where you won't be interrupted. You might choose loose, comfortable clothing so that your movements will be unrestricted. It is important to follow the needs of your body rather than follow the instructions precisely. If certain movements aren't right for you right now, let your own body guide you, modifying the poses or even skipping over parts that aren't right for you at this time. If this is the case, you can find a comfortable position, close your eyes, and visualize yourself doing the movements. Cultivating acceptance of how your body is and practicing patience with yourself is best. No need to strive for any particular result, as with all of our practices. We are interested in what is happening in the moment, rather than how we think things should be. Anytime you notice that you wish things were different, just notice the thought and let it pass by, coming back to the sensations of the body. The benefits of this practice come from being with our body as it is now and really getting to know it in this moment. It is important to work within your own limits, exploring what is right for your body and not going beyond your limit. Getting to know what is right here, right now. All that is asked is that you make the time to do these poses and that your effort is sincere. Setting an intention to be present with each pose and connecting more deeply with yourself. We start our practice now by lying down on the mat or a carpeted floor. Lying down flat on our backs, palms facing up or facing down. The legs are outstretched with the feet falling away from each other. Eyes are open or closed. Noticing if the body is in relative symmetry, making any adjustments as feels aligned as possible. Noticing the front of the body, the back of the body, the sides. Feeling the fullness of the body. This pose is called resting pose. You can begin to explore this pose by sensing the weight of the body. Releasing the weight into the security of the floor. Almost as if you're feeling held in this moment. Not needing to do anything or to be anywhere, just being here. You can choose to scan through the body on your own or moving from the top of the head to the bottom of the feet, beginning with the head, the neck, shoulders, arms, torso, legs, and the feet. Feeling deeply into the body, being present with whatever you find. Bringing a gentle acceptance. Maybe even noticing the impact that each breath has on the body. Now starting to shift into our next posture. The body sinks down into the floor. allowing the floor to take all of your weight. And now gently lifting the arms up toward the ceiling, slowly, and then up over the head and towards the floor, only as far as what feels right for you. Stretching and lengthening in the direction of the arms and the fingertips, and in the opposite direction through the legs and the feet. Feeling the full length of the body. Exploring the full range, but not going over your limit. And when ready, slowly lifting the arms back up towards the ceiling, over the head, and towards the floor, feeling the shifting weight and the shifting muscles as the arms move through space. Noticing the release of the arms as they touch the floor. As we give our weight back to the floor. Noticing the body relaxing and lifting the arms back slowly up, overhead, back up above the body, and down towards the floor, stretching towards the back wall, with the feet opposing the stretch and pushing in the opposite direction. And slowly raising the arms back up toward the ceiling, back toward the floor. Being present with the shifting movements of the arms and slowly releasing the weight into the floor, and then landing back in resting pose. Feeling the effects of this motion on the body. Now preparing for pelvic rocking. Starting by bending the knees up toward the ceiling and the feet flat on the floor. Bringing attention to the lower back and noticing the natural curve in this area. Now pressing the lower back into the floor so the tailbone tips up towards the ceiling just slightly. Releasing the tailbone as it tips back toward the floor. Creating space once again between the lower back and the floor. And repeating this motion, tilting the pelvis back and forth on your own pace. As you do this, using only the muscles required for the motion. This is a small motion that we do in the lower back. Maybe noticing and letting go of any extra effort or tension in the face, the jaw, or the neck. Tilting back and forth while under control. Then, when ready, coming to a resting point, feeling the effects on the body. And when ready, drawing both knees up toward the chest. Gently wrapping the arms around both of the lower legs or the thighs and feeling the impact of this pose on the lower back. Maybe you're feeling the release of the lower back or any tightness or whatever is happening in your body right now. If this is right for you, gently lifting the head up towards the knees, but being extra careful of the neck. Noticing and letting go of any extra effort in the neck or head. And gently releasing the head back to the floor. Letting the arms fall down to the sides. And stretching the back out straight on the floor. And landing again, back in resting pose. When ready, bending the right knee. Now drawing it towards the chest. With both hands wrapping around the lower leg or the thigh. And just exploring this range of motion that might be in the hip socket. Moving the knee in one direction. Then going in the opposite direction. Exploring the limits of motion for you right now. Moving in whatever way feels comfortable for you. When you're ready, coming to a resting place. Arms still around the leg. And then lifting the forehead up towards the knee. And feeling the effort of this stretch. Using only the muscles necessary to bring the head up toward the knee. Gently releasing and lowering the head back down to the floor. Allowing the arms to fall back towards the side. Stretching the right leg back out onto the floor. Maybe just noticing the difference between the two sides of the body. Noticing what is present. Then bringing the left knee up to the chest. Grasping it with one hand or with the hands. Rotating the left leg in the hip socket in one direction. Exploring this range of motion. Now coming to a stop and then switching directions. Just noticing your limits. And then coming to a stopping place. And if it's right for you, lifting the head up towards the knee. Again, feeling the effort required to do this. Gently lifting the head. And then back down towards the floor. Arms falling to the sides. Stretching the left leg back out. And coming back to resting pose. Connecting with the body. When ready, we'll be rolling onto one side. So pushing yourself up, and then transitioning into table position. Moving to all fours. Palms and knees pressing into the floor, holding us in this tabletop posture. Seeing if it's possible to stay present to the body sensations as you transition. Hands are under the shoulders and knees are under hips. The back is flat. The body is in the shape of a table. Hands are outstretched. Or if it's more comfortable for you, you can also consider making fists and rest your body on your fists. Now, while in tabletop, considering moving into cat-cow pose. And like with the pelvic rocking, it explores the movement of the spine and possibly even syncing this to the rhythm of the breath, if you feel that's appropriate. So beginning with an out breath, curving the middle of the back up towards the ceiling, almost like a scared cat arches its back. Tailbone and head hanging towards the floor. When ready, or on the start of the in-breath, moving in the other direction. The back curves down towards the floor, the head and tailbone lifting up. Just pausing here for a moment. Now working with the cat-cow posture. And just allowing yourself to move at your own pace. Moving back and forth, exploring what's here in these poses as you transition back and forth. The spine moving in each direction. Showing its range. Just moving through a few more. And then coming to rest in tabletop position once again. When ready, we're going to be moving to a balance pose. If your eyes have been closed, consider opening them now and finding a point ahead of you to focus on. Beginning by extending the right leg straight out behind you and lifting it as high as feels comfortable and able. And then when you feel stable, or if you feel stable, extending and straightening the left arm in front of you, straight out. Feeling the diagonal stretch as we land in this pose. Feeling the strength needed to hold yourself in this way. Exploring your limits, but not holding it longer than is right for you. And then lowering the left arm and lowering the right leg. And now even moving into cat-cow poses to help release the spine if you find that to be helpful. When ready, coming back to table position or tabletop position. Stretching out the left leg and lifting it as high as is right for you. Lifting the right arm straight out toward the front wall. Stretching in opposite directions through the arm and the leg. Exploring your limits, but not pushing past them. Feeling all the movements necessary to hold the body in this position. The diagonal stretch. Gently bringing the right arm down. Bringing the left leg back down. And releasing the spine once again through a few cat-cow stretches. And coming back to tabletop position. And now releasing the buttocks and the hips back toward the heels. Landing the chest or the torso on the thighs. If more comfortable, you can always widen the knees so that the torso can rest between the thighs. Bringing the forehead in close to the floor. as possible. Stretching arms out in front or back by your sides, or even folding the arms under the head if that's more supportive. Finding a restful position to feel into the body. This is child's pose. And just feeling the effects of the movements we've just made as we rest in child's pose. Just releasing into the floor. Maybe being aware of the feelings or the feeling of breath in the body or breathing in the body. Just being present to whatever you're feeling in your body right now. From child's pose, now moving on to your back. And noticing that you are moving, noticing as the body moves, and allowing ourselves to settle back into resting pose, arms by the side, legs stretched out, and feeling the effects of this movement on the body. Feeling the body, breathing. Now bending the knees up toward the ceiling. Feet are flat on the floor. And if you'd like, now preparing for bridge pose. So using the strength in the legs and the hips and pressing the feet flat into the floor, lifting the pelvis and torso into the air. Your weight resting on your shoulders, head and feet. Not using any extra muscles that are necessary in holding the torso up in the air. Maybe noticing your breath or the breathing. And then slowly beginning to release, lowering the hips back down onto the floor. Coming to the floor and fully releasing the weight back into the floor. Maybe feeling or noticing the breath once again. Feeling the effects of the stretch. Now lifting up once again, lifting the torso and the buttocks up towards the ceiling. As high as is right for you right now. No need to push anything further than it needs to go. If you like, even considering lifting the arms up overhead, extending the stretch in this way, releasing any extra effort, noticing just what muscles are required to hold yourself in this way, not using any more to the best of our ability. Slowly raising the arms back up towards the ceiling, if you had them above your head, and then lowering them down towards the floor, and just slowly releasing back down, feeling the shifting movement, lowering the buttocks down, torso down, releasing all the muscles, and just feeling into the body. From this position, keeping the knees bent and feet flat on the floor. Now inviting you to do a few spinal twists with the knees pointed up, folding the arms underneath the head, elbows pointed outward. On an exhalation, lowering the knees to the right, any amount that's comfortable. Both both knees dropping to the right, allowing the soles of the feet to come up off the floor. And then if you like, stretching this pose a little more by turning the head to the left. Just feeling the effects of this pose. Feeling this twisting motion in the torso. Noticing that we are breathing, or if we're holding our breath in any way. And then bringing the head and knees back to center. Now lowering the knees to the left side. Moving the head to the right, if that's comfortable. At your own pace. Just moving back and forth between the left and the right sides. Feeling deeply into the twist as we do this motion. Making sure to really stay at a comfortable pace that works with our body. Just noticing the effects as you move through each side, through center, and then move to the other side. Feeling the effects of the body as you do these twists. Just being present to whatever you're experiencing. Allowing this to be done with gentleness. And then coming up to a neutral position. Bringing the arms back to our sides. Stretching the legs back out. And then back into resting pose. Feeling the effects of the emotion that we just did. Again, maybe checking in on the feelings of the breath and how it's impacting the body. Now bending the left knee up towards the ceiling and placing the left foot flat on the floor. Right leg is still outstretched. On an in-breath, lifting the right leg straight up into the air, out as high as possible, just while being aware of our limits. This is not about height, but about feeling into what is right for you in this moment. Just exploring our limits, not pushing ourselves, but reconnecting with the body. Just noticing what is right now for you in this moment. And now rotating the foot. Just feeling deeply into this motion. Noticing the shifting muscles as you rotate the foot around. And then moving in the opposite direction. Legs still straight up and outstretched. And then pointing and flexing the foot. Releasing any extra effort in the head, neck, or shoulders. Using only the muscles required for this movement. And then holding the leg wherever's comfortable, behind the thigh, the lower leg, or even grasping a hold of the pants. And maybe lifting the head up towards the knee if you feel that's right for you. Just being aware of any extra effort in the neck or head. Using only the muscles necessary. And then releasing the head back down to the floor. And letting the arms release down as well. And slowly letting the right leg move back down to the floor. Feeling deeply into the leg. Noticing the shifting movements of the muscle. Noticing the weight of the leg as it approaches the floor. And then the release as it meets the floor. Giving the weight back to the floor. Stretching the left leg back out. And just feeling the effects of this pose. Feeling the difference between the two sides. Now lifting the right knee up, right foot flat on the floor, and lifting the left leg outstretched up as high as feels comfortable for you. Just slowly rotating the left foot, paying attention to the motion, to the muscles moving, maybe the shifting muscles. Then pausing and starting to go in the opposite direction. Pointing and flexing the foot. Now, what does this feel like in the leg? Clasping the hands behind the left leg. This can be the thigh or the lower leg, whatever's most comfortable. And if this is right for you, lifting the head up toward the knee any amount, not overextending yourself. Just exploring what's possible right now. Using only what is necessary to hold yourself in this pose. Releasing any extra effort. And then letting the head release back down to the floor. The arms back to the floor. Very slowly releasing the left leg back down toward the floor. Feeling into the leg. Noticing the shifting muscles. The heaviness of the leg as it approaches the floor. And feeling the release of the leg as it makes it onto the floor. Stretching the right leg back out and landing back in resting position. Feeling into the body, just noticing the effects of the pose. Maybe noticing the body breathing once again. Now shifting onto the left side. Moving with awareness and intention. Bringing the legs as straight as possible and just balancing on our side. The head is supported by the left arm, either outstretched or bent at the elbow, holding the head up. Right arm is resting on the floor in front of the belly. And then slowly raising your leg up as high as comfortable without any strain. You don't have to lift it very high. And then, if possible, considering rotating the foot. Moving in a circular pattern, first one way, and then coming to a stop, and then reversing direction and rotating the foot in the other way. Just exploring movement in this area, feeling the muscles of the leg, and then slowly releasing the leg back down. Both legs outstretched. When ready, now rolling over to the right side. Paying attention as we stretch the legs out, one stacked on top of the other. The left arm in front of the belly, the right arm supporting the head, and lifting the left leg up into the air. And then again, rotating the left leg. First in one direction, and then pausing, and now going in the opposite direction. Coming to a stop once again, and then slowly bringing them back down towards the floor and releasing. Feeling the release throughout the entire body. Now turning over onto our bellies in a face down position. Arms resting by the side of the body. Legs are uncrossed. Head can be resting on one cheek, or if it's more comfortable, folding the arms under the head. Feeling the pressure of the floor against the belly. And then release on the out breath. Breathing and just feeling into this body position. Now consider doing a leg lift. Resting the head either on the chin or on the forehead, and gently tightening the muscles in the buttocks, the hips, the thighs. Lifting the right leg up, outstretched, just as high as it will go for your body. This, once again, does not have to go very high to be effective. Just seeing what the body can do, using only the muscles needed to hold up the leg in this way. And then releasing the right leg back down to the floor. And then shifting the head to the opposite cheek if needed. Feeling into each side of the body. Noticing differences. Bringing your head back to center, resting on the chin or forehead. Tightening the muscles in the buttocks and the thighs again. And this time lifting the left leg, outstretched up as high as it will go. Not straining. Just exploring what is here for you. Feeling into the body. Holding it only as long as it's right for you. And then releasing the left leg back down to the floor. Turning the head to the side. Resting the cheek on the floor and possibly just checking in with the breath and the body once again. Now, while staying on the body, we'll be moving into Cobra pose. So, bringing the head up slightly, being careful not to strain, bringing the hands up under the shoulders, arms are bent, lower arm resting on the floor, or forearm resting on the floor, flexing the muscles just slightly in the buttocks and thighs and the lower back. And then lifting the head up, using the muscles in the back. Pushing the hands into the floor to get just a little bit more lift. You might slide the hands back towards the waist a little bit if this is more supportive. Just getting a little extra stretch. Elbows come up off the floor if you feel you have this range of motion. And then slowly release back onto the floor. Arms coming back down to the sides. Head resting on one cheek or under the arms. Just feeling into the body. Noticing what is present in your body right now. And with intention and awareness and care, now shifting back over onto the back, possibly lifting the knee up towards the chest to help assist with rolling over. Just moving back into resting pose. Arms stretched out by the side. Drawing the legs up toward the chest. Wrapping the arms around the lower legs or the thighs. And just rocking back and forth. Slowly, gently. We're moving in circles. Just giving the back a little massage. Just releasing the effort of the spine. Just moving in whatever way feels right for you. Breathing. And then releasing the arms down to the floor. Stretching the legs out. And back into resting pose. Feeling the effects of this motion. Feeling deeply into the body. Feeling the head, the neck, shoulders, feeling the arms, the torso, the legs, and the feet. And just fully releasing into the floor, giving all of our weight. Just letting go of effort. And perhaps just appreciating you have taken the time to do these motions, these poses, all of the care and attention that you've put forth in this practice. An appreciation towards yourself and the abilities of your body. As this practice starts to come to a close, you'll hear the bell ring.